Before we move deeper into this video, let's talk a little bit about Redshift in terms of eye concept. Until a couple of years ago, probably 5 years, I was still rendering everything with on the CPU. And I started to use Octane, 4 or 5 years ago. And I did really enjoy it. I did really like the aspect of rendering my stuff very quickly and getting nice result and not having to wait like 1 hour or 30 minutes for an image, getting something 5 or 10 minutes later. And very quickly, I did move into the beta of Redshift. I did really enjoy Redshift for what it was. Redshift is bias renderer, contrary to Octane, which is an unbiased, meaning that Octane will try to render everything physically correct and not introduce error or variation in the rendering to be faster. It's not mean that you get better result. I mean, it's all depend of what you are doing. In the case of Redshift, I'm managing to get cleaner and faster rendering as in Octane. Not that Octane is bad by any extent. It's just that you will end up having a lot of noise and you have to wait for your render to clean that noise. Meaning you will get an image looking very good after 2 or 3 minutes and you will have to wait 10 to 15 minutes to remove that noise. So here's the gallery from Redshift. I would suggest that you have a look into it to get inspired. And let's talk a little bit about what's so cool about Redshift. Here we have a statue or an object that is roughly 2 million tries. I will send it to Redshift to my IP here, just clicking a button, and now it's there. I will just quickly create a light. I'm not explaining exactly what I'm doing right now. It's not important. We will go more in depth later. I'm adding a light. I'm adding an IBL. So far so good. I'm not doing anything crazy, right? But you will see it is very quick. GNOME, and then we will go to HDRI and grab the very well-known Peppermill. That IBL is coming from the collection from Christian Bloch, which I would suggest that you go and grab some of his free one. They are everywhere. There's a bunch of them. Choose the one you like. Some are better than others. Some have, in my opinion, a better calibration than others. But all in all, they give you great result and something to play with. Anyway, we move here very quickly, and just to get accustomed, I will show you that I can change everything I want super quick and get different type of result and get crazy real-time feedback. So now I will turn on my option global illumination, turn on Irradiance Cache and brute force, which start to be for people that come from Lightwave. You know what brute force mean, right? It's very, very slow generally. Let's start to move my reflection here, and then here's fine. IOR will put it here. It is not important at all what I'm showing you right now, right? It is just me playing with that stuff and just getting interesting result. We will remove the anisotropy because it's getting in the way, and then we will get it there. So far what I'm doing is rendering with the IP here. Now when time comes to do a proper render, we'll just click that button, wait a little bit. Remember, I'm trying to not cut that video. I want you guys to see the render in real time as much as possible. Let's see, it did a calculation pass, and here we are here at 13 seconds. 13 seconds is quite fast. Now if we go closer to it, we realize there is a lot of noise. I will also later move forward and show you how to remove the noise. But for now, just as an introduction, it should show you the power of GPU renderer, or even better say the power of Redshift. And I don't want to sound like a salesman. Redshift is for me the same as with Substance Painter. They become two tools that I will not want to not have in my arsenal. So here we have that. I will maybe make it a little bit bigger and see very quickly my render option. Where are my render option box? Obviously my render option box are not showing. I did close the window. It's probably here. Yeah, out of the screen. Command, we will change the size to 1K. What do we need to change? We need to look at the light. We will give it more simple here, 128, and then I will just quickly change some parameter that I will explain later. Here output and 64 to 56. and I will say let's do a render again in real time. I'm not stopping my recording. I'm rendering at 1K by 1K, which is a decent size. Obviously it takes a little bit more time. It's calculating the GI. We wait a little bit more, and as you can see, I did already lose a lot of the noise. I still have some noise, which I can still continue to refine and clean up. So, but before we go into more detail and look at a project, we will do a hands-on chapter where we will at the same time together a texture car. When I say texture, it's most shade in the first chapter, and then later we will introduce the concept of texture and layer material. But as you can see, I'm getting a 1K render with global illumination in 51 seconds with a good anti-aliasing. I think you can't really complain about that. 51 seconds, this is great. Obviously, more polygon I have, slower it will become. More feature I will have, slower it will become. But generally, for my personal work, I used to have image that will render in probably like 30 minutes to an hour, and now I take the time down to 15 minutes at most. And generally, after 5 minutes, I'm done. So I would then suggest that before we do any chapter, we check most of the features that we'll be using in this introduction. As I mentioned before, this is an introduction to Redshift and not an in-depth class. The idea is that after watching this video, you should be able to do roughly the same type of rendering that you will find on my ArtStation.